communism is bad. Plenty of Americans will tell you as much. There's only one tiny little problem. Data says most of them don't actually know what communism is. They certainly have heard the word to be thrown around a lot by politicians, like the big bad wolf that will eat you if you don't obey mama's orders, or in this case, Uncle Sam's. But if you ask Americans to explain to you what communism is based on what practices it promotes and what issues it can cause, most will stare at you blankly and ask for the next question. Because while human beings don't need to know the facts about something to have opinions about it, we can even have a strong feeling about a concept simply based on how we've seen it used. I, for instance, don't care for communism one way or the other, but there's something I do have strong feelings about, and that is the ideology I try to abide by, the religion of Islam. And I'm pretty sure Muslims are not the only ones who have strong feelings about Islam. To be fair, it's really hard not to have strong feelings about this religion considering the kind of news attached to it. When it comes to terrible PR, there are few ideologies that can beat Islam. Let's think of some key phrases that have at some point or another been associated with Islam. There is forced hijab, oppressed women, holy war, 9/11, and perhaps the biggest PR blow so far, Daesh, aka ISIS. Now, regardless of whether or not any of these concepts have anything at all to do with Islam, one thing is for certain: there's no shortage of news about them, which makes it understandable why people who don't know the most basic principles of Islam feel like they know the religion because of their exposure to media on the topic. Which begs the question, what then is Islam? Finally, I'm glad someone asked. Islam is the completion of Abrahamic religions, which consists of two main parts: main beliefs and practices. One cannot be a Muslim, for instance, unless he or she believes there's only one God. Not two, not three, one and only one. This God has always been and will always be. He is everlasting, He's all-powerful and all-knowing. And He is just. No one's a match for Him, and nobody else is worthy of worship. Now, there are other principal beliefs in Islam as well, such as the belief that Allah has sent prophets, such as Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, to guide us to this path, and the belief in that life continues in a different form after one's death. These beliefs are some of the most important beliefs in Islam and are shared by Muslims all over the world, regardless of their sect or nationality. And yet these beliefs are rarely ever shared in mainstream media. What is discussed instead is Islamic practices like hijab, marriage, jihad, and so on, and nearly always these discussions are filled with misinformation and with little to no regard for the true meaning behind these actions. It seems Islam, this religion with the second biggest population of followers in the world, is only discussed when and where it can be painted in a negative light. But is there a way out of being exposed to media propaganda and into actually understanding Islam for what it is? Of course there is, the same way millions of Muslims got to learn about the religion, through studying the main resources of Islam, such as the Quran and the teachings of Islam's final prophet. Because Islam is not a religion one may inherit from his ancestors and blindly follow. In order for one's acts of worship to be accepted, one must believe in the main principles of Islam, and these main principles are taught in the Muslim holy book Quran. That's why various scholars constantly invite non-Muslims to learn about Islam through its main resources. Their message can be summed in the letter of Iran's leader of the revolution, Imam Khomeini, to the Western youth. Learn about Islam through its original and first-hand resources. Be introduced to Islam through the Holy Quran and the life of its great prophet.